Hello, my friends. Let's start with Zelensky's latest statement. He admitted that Russian forces have the advantage, so negotiations are necessary. US-Russia negotiations about the war without Ukraine's presence are extremely dangerous, Zelensky said. He also stated that Russia is not actually interested in participating in ceasefire talks because its forces currently hold the advantage. Zelensky also continues to emphasize that promised military aid from Western partners hasn't been delivered.
When I hear, and I've heard before, and today we still hear from the United States, that America has given Ukraine hundreds of billions, 177 billion to be precise, as was officially stated and backed by Congress and various organizations, I must clarify something. As the president of a country at war, I tell you that we have received just over 75 billion. That means that 100 billion out of the 177, or even 200 billion, as some claim, never actually reached us. And this is important. Because we are talking about concrete facts, we didn't receive this aid as money, but as weapons. The total value of the weapons we've received is a little over 70 billion.
Meanwhile, fighting on the front lines continues, so let's start with the Pokrovsk direction. Here it can be said that Russian forces have been halted over the past 24 hours. No territorial changes have been recorded. However, Russian troops are still trying to push into the village of Udachne, storming Zvirove, Promень, and Yelizavetivka. It appears that the activity has slightly decreased. In the past 24 hours, 40 assaults were recorded, almost half as many as in previous days. Despite this, Shalin remains relentless, and Russian forces continue their efforts to keep the entire frontline area under their control while also striking Ukrainian rear positions. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces are attempting to break through near Zaporizhzhia, storming Udachne, advancing toward Constantinople, and engaging in battles for the village of Rozliv. Although the situation regarding the potential encirclement of Ukrainian troops hasn't improved, Russian forces have made no new advances in the past 24 hours. The Ukrainian Armed Forces continue to repel all attacks. In the Velyka Novosilka direction, Russian forces continue to heavily shell the frontline area and are actively storming Novosilka. However, over the past 24 hours, no territorial changes have been recorded. The overall activity remains minimal for now, and all attacks near Novopil have been unsuccessful. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russian forces haven't launched any new assaults, and the situation remains unchanged. In the Kherson direction, Russian forces continue the attacks near the Antonievsky Bridge, attempting to expand their controlled territory. However, over the past 24 hours, they haven't achieved any new successes. Still, after pushing Ukrainian forces out of the left bank, there is a growing risk of future assaults on the right bank, particularly near Kherson, which highlights the Russians' advantage in the area. In the Toretsk direction, Russian forces are attempting to break through near Toretsk and Krymske. No territorial changes have been recorded in the past 24 hours, but fighting continues, with Ukrainian forces actively launching counterattacks. In the Chasiv Yar direction, Russian forces continue the assaults in the central part of the city. Battles are also ongoing for Stupochki, where the Russian forces are attempting to advance through the fields toward Vila Hora. However, no changes have been recorded on the front line in the past 24 hours. In the Siversk direction, Russian forces are attacking Bilohorivka and Verkhnyokamyansk, but the activity remains low, only a few assaults per day. As a result, the front line remains unchanged. In the Lyman direction, Russian forces continue advancing toward the village of Kolodezi. They are also attempting to improve their positions near the village of Terny, storming Yampolivka and pushing southward near Torske. However, there have been no changes along the front line in the past 24 hours. In the Borova direction, Russian troops are attacking Boguslavka, advancing near Lozova and Novoyegorivka, and pushing south toward Novomykhailivka. However, they haven't achieved any success, and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian forces continue storming Petropavlivka and advancing through the fields near Pishane. Glushkivka is also under attack. Meanwhile, battles around Dvorichna are ongoing, where Russian troops, after capturing the town, are now attempting to push further. We will have to wait and see how the situation develops. To bring some order, General Drapaty has decided to ban the reassignment of reservists. Drapaty has prohibited the transfer of signalmen to infantry and non-specialist positions. The Ground Forces Command conducted an analysis of training for communications specialists in units that are being reformed or newly created. It was found that signalmen were being reassigned to infantry units without justification, while their positions were filled by personnel without experience in handling modern communication equipment. As a result, some frontline units struggled to maintain effective command and control. Additionally, today, Russian forces have resumed assaults on the village of Topoli from Russian territory. It seems they are trying to stretch Ukrainian forces as much as possible, but so far they haven't succeeded. The Ukrainian forces continue to repel all attacks effectively. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian troops are continuing shelling but haven't launched any offensive actions. Meanwhile, in Vovchansk, the situation remains calm, with Russian forces failing to make any progress. In the Kursk region, the Russian counteroffensive has come to a halt. They are unable to advance further and have started conducting fewer assaults, but the front line remains unchanged. Meanwhile, Putin stated that Trump would be able to restore order in the US very quickly, though he hasn't made any new comments about Ukraine.
Right now, there's some political maneuvering between European elites and President-elect Trump. Has anything really changed since Biden? No, nothing has changed. They eagerly followed Washington's orders under Biden. They just don't like Trump. They fought against him actively. Yes, they really interfered in the political life and election process in the United States, and then they were caught off guard when Trump suddenly won. They liked Biden more mentally. You see mentally. Trump, however, has different views on what is good and bad, including on gender policies. In other matters, they don't like his stance either. But I assure you, Trump, with his character and persistence, will bring order very quickly. Just wait, it will happen soon. They will all fall at the master's feet and wag their tails obediently.
Meanwhile, the Ukrainian forces have eliminated another 1,320 Russians. However, Zelensky acknowledged that Ukraine has also suffered heavy losses.
We are fighting, we are living, and we are doing everything to bring peace closer. We are now closer to it than ever before. Over these 3 years of war, we have defended our state, our independence, our country, our capital, and many cities and villages. Unfortunately, we have lost many people. I am incredibly proud of our heroic people. Who could have imagined all this? No one. Who could have foreseen all these consequences? No one. That is why we must do everything to stabilize life in Ukraine and ensure peace for all Ukrainians. I believe this is the most important thing.
Meanwhile, As promised, Trump has imposed tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico. In response to Trump's tariffs, Canada and Mexico are imposing their own tariffs on U.S. goods. Trump signed an executive order imposing tariffs on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico, set to take effect on February 4. The tariff rate will be 10% for China, 25% for Mexico, and 10% on energy resources and 25% on all other imports from Canada. In response, Canada has imposed 25 tariffs on $106 billion worth of US goods. Prime Minister Trudeau is urging Canadians to support domestic products and travel within Canada. Mexico has pledged to retaliate against Washington with both tariff and non tariff measures, but remains open to dialogue, according to President Sheinbaum. China has already announced plans to take the case to the World Trade Organization. The trade war has officially begun. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.